What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Mitch here of the Bottom Line View, here for your WWE Smackdown Live for August the 22nd, 2017, the last Smackdown Live, actually the first Smackdown Live after SummerSlam. Last show was SummerSlam, so this is supposed to be a big Smackdown. Like, you know, a lot of things are happening, post-SummerSlam feuds. We're getting into the new feuds going forward. We're pushing ahead, and we're about halfway through the WWE schedule, starting with WrestleMania, ending with WrestleMania. So I was expecting a semi-big show. I was expecting maybe a couple surprises, maybe a couple call-ups from NXT, and that's exactly what we got tonight. We had Bobby Roode arrive from NXT, and we also had the return of Shelton Benjamin. So we're going to discuss that. All that. I'm going to go in depth segment by segment by segment. Let me know in the comments, in the live comments, what you guys thought about SmackDown Live tonight. Were you a fan of Bobby Roode's arrival to SmackDown Live? Were you a fan of Shelton Benjamin coming back? Were you a fan of this U.S. Championship stuff? Let me know what you guys think about SmackDown Live tonight for the 22nd of August. All right, so let's get right into the show. Starting off with the AJ Styles promo. So how SmackDown starts the show off is they start off with AJ Styles. Interesting enough, they could have possibly went with Jinder Mahal. They could have possibly went with Shinsuke Nakamura. They could have went with Kevin Owens. They could have went with Shane McMahon. Could have went with any of these avenues. They decided to go with AJ Styles, and something interesting about the show is that they treated the U.S. Championship as if it was their #1 championship. They did do a thread throughout the show with the U.S. Championship and the U.S. Championship feud with AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, but they didn't, you know, they treated it as if it was the #1 title, and I always have a little problem with that. Whenever they treat the U.S. Championship as if it's the #1, and it's not. It's the WWE Championship is the #1. It should get the most time on the show. It should get the biggest, best treatment. Now, am I a fan that they did a thread throughout the show with the U.S. Championship? Yes, but they continue to put the U.S. Championship and the mid-card of SmackDown ahead of the WWE Championship and their top wrestlers, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's not the traditional way of booking a show. Like your #1 title should be what's centered around your show every single time, but it is what it is. So the AJ Styles promo started off, and basically AJ said that he's going to reinstate the U.S. Open Challenge as champion. Kevin Owens comes out as if he's going to challenge AJ Styles for the title. Styles says, "It's over. I beat you at SummerSlam. You get no more opportunities." Then Kevin Owens responds by saying, McMahon screwed a legendary Canadian out of a title once again. Shane McMahon was the one that screwed me. That is exactly what happened. You didn't beat me. Shane McMahon screwed me. So Shane comes out. Shane says he did what he said he was going to do, and that was call it right down the middle. He says AJ won fair and square. Owen says, how can a guy that jumped off a Hell in a Cell, how can a guy that survived a crash from a helicopter not get up for the count after getting grazed with the 450 splash? That was a good point, because actually me and my friends and even Dylan and Kev and the guys that watch SummerSlam with me are like, okay, McMahon's selling this hard. Like, he's not getting up quickly. The guy survived a helicopter crash. He threw himself basically off of a Hell in a Cell. He should have the stamina and the ability to get up faster than what he did at SummerSlam. So I like that they brought that up. Owens then shows the highlights of what happened at SummerSlam, and most people will see that AJ had his foot on the rope, but what Owens sees is the other body part, the body part of Shane's right hand hitting the mat 3 times, counting the victory. And honestly, it would have been really, really hard. I don't know how, like, obviously it's scripted and stuff, but like if this was real life, there was no possible way Shane would have kept looking up and not seeing his leg. Like, seriously. But anyways, Shane immediately says the difference here is that he immediately called it off, and that's the difference between what happened before with the ref and what he did. Owen says he counted 3. That's my title. He calls AJ, you know, a poor champion, a bad champion, a joke of a champion. AJ says, you know what? I don't like a whiny bitch like you. He actually said whiny bitch, which I thought was interesting. AJ then says, give me, you know, let's do it. Give me the match. Let's do it. Me versus you, Kevin Owens. So Shane McMahon is like, okay, AJ, if you want this match, you can have this match. But Owen says, no way. Let me pick the referee tonight because I've been screwed over twice by 2 different types of refs, a special ref, a normal ref. I want to pick my ref tonight. So I like that, and it sets up a story for the rest of the show. I like what they did here. I thought the segment was pretty good. I thought it was a good follow-up from what happened at SummerSlam. It keeps the tension going. It's a good storyline so far. But my only problem with this is what didn't happen. You know, the WWE Championship wasn't really, you know, a centerpiece of this show. It wasn't really talked about much on this show. The U.S. Championship was what this show was about. And I thought the U.S. Championship was mostly good tonight, but I just felt like the WWE Championship should not be put aside the way it has been on SmackDown. Part of the reason why people are tuning out is because the WWE Championship should be the #1 thing, and it's not. But anyways, that's what we get here. Basically, what it's showcasing is that Owens is kind of an opportunist. He's getting another chance, and Styles is a fighting champion, and he'll fight no matter what. This will be the very last U.S. title opportunity for Kevin Owens, though, in the main event tonight. So the next thing we get, and, you know, I was complaining about the WWE Championship not opening the show, but at least they had it second. So Daniel Bryan is backstage. He's on the phone. He says that there's going to be a few big surprises on the show tonight. So that's good. And he's also teasing some of the things that's going to happen. The Singh brothers come in and they talk about the great champion that's Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal comes in. He says that SummerSlam was a huge international success thanks to him, and he's a dominant champion. But the people here don't recognize him as a hero, but recognize him as a bad guy, the same as Daniel Bryan. Daniel says, you know what I see? I see a champion that can't win without the Singh brothers. He says Shinsuke needs his retribution tonight, and people are kind of thinking, okay, so are they going to have a rematch like on this show, Shinsuke versus Jinder? But no, what happens is Daniel makes a match between the Singh brothers and Shinsuke and Nakamura. So I like that idea. It's a good idea because finally they're bringing up the fact that Jinder can't win on his own. Is this going to lead to Jinder finally winning on his own against Shinsuke, or is this going to lead to Shinsuke taking the title off Jinder? So you have to think about it a little bit. The Singh brothers have been really involved in the victories for Jinder, so I think this made sense for the general manager to make this match. I also like this segment. I don't think there was really much wrong with it, and I like the idea of the Singh brothers wrestling Shinsuke tonight for Shinsuke to get his redemption. I would have liked to seen a little bit more from Shinsuke, maybe a promo about he lost and how he's going to redeem himself, you know, something about SummerSlam because he is the #1 contender. We didn't see enough about him. And no, I'm not a fan of his mic work, but we need to see something from what that character is thinking, being that he is the #1 contender. All right, let's get to the comments real quick. What's going on, Katana? What's going on, WWE boy? Chauncey's in the chat. TMB's in the chat. Landon's in the chat. So let's get to Katana's first comment, who says, okay, show. Interesting to see what Bobby Roode and Shelton do. WWE boy says, show is pretty good in my opinion. SmackDown was the winner this week. I actually thought Raw was pretty good last night, as you can see on the review. Me, Kev, and Dylan. Katana says they treated the WWE Championship as a jobber title. Yeah, they did, kind of. The WWE boy says there wasn't much of a WWE title feud on this show. Believe it or not, there was more than usual because I think there was 2 or 3 segments with them. There was at least a segment with the champion Jinder, and there was a match with Shinsuke. A lot of times they actually only have 1 match or 1 segment with the WWE champion. So there honestly was more, like just by pure segments. There was probably more WWE Championship time, but it was treated as if it was the #2 title and not the #1 title, which I'm not a fan of. Chauncey says, Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. What's going on, Chauncey? WWE boy says, Shane screwing Owens is good booking for now to lead in a feud, in my opinion. Yeah, we'll get to that in the main event. Landon says, what's your opinion on what culture? I feel like I've answered this question quite a few times. I'm personally not a huge fan of their channel because I just don't agree with a lot of what they say because they're a different sort of fan than me. That's just my opinion, but I think they do make some good content. It's just I don't agree with all their opinions, so I don't really follow them. So that's my opinion on What Culture. Actually, I actually met them at WrestleMania. It was at NXT TakeOver before WrestleMania 33. My friend is a big fan of What Culture, so he kind of like made a joke towards one of them, and they kind of like put him off, like they kind of ignored him, and I thought that was really rude. Like they almost seemed like they were above us, like when they were sitting there, even though they were sitting in like the top of the rafters. But it is what it is. Next. Katana says, I just don't care about Owens and Shade feuding. Not a fan of KO. Didn't you just say that was good booking? Or was that WWE Boy? Oh, okay. WWE Boy said that. Katana also says the WWE Championship is an afterthought on SmackDown. TMB says someone with a gut like Big Cass shouldn't get a girl that looks as fine as Carmella did tonight. We'll get to Carmella. WWE Boy agrees with TMB's statement. WWE Boy calls the What Culture smarks, and he says WCPW sucks. Chauncey says, did Shelton Benjamin return tonight? I did not see it. Yeah, he did return, but it wasn't a match or anything like that. It was just a backstage segment with Daniel Bryan and Chad Gable. So he did return. It should be on YouTube. They'll probably have a YouTube video of it, Chauncey. So look up the WWE YouTube. I'm giving WWE a cheap plug because they need it. I'm just kidding. Go to their WWE channel, and they'll have a video of Shelton Benjamin returning. There you go. So let's get to the next segment, which was Aiden English. Oh, no, not Aiden English yet. I'm getting ahead of myself here. We have Kevin Owens backstage with Sami Zayn. Owens says that I need someone I can trust to be the ref, and you're the only one who fits the bill. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, so I kind of saw this coming, but at the same time, this doesn't make sense for Sami Zayn because he's been beat up, and more beat up because of this guy, Kevin Owens. Yeah, I used to be friends with him 15 years ago, but it doesn't make sense now in storyline. It makes 0 sense for Sami Zayn to do something for Kevin Owens, being through what he's been through in that rivalry. So for me, it made no sense, this opening segment where Sami says, I watched the Kevin Owens story recently, and I don't know why we're fighting. And I feel like they said that because there's a scene in that documentary where they are hugging and embracing each other after Owens wins the title. So for me, that's why I felt like they did this, is just to address, okay, Sami thought about it. He still has this, lingering thought of being friends with Owens, but he just can't do it, and that's what we'll see later on tonight. Owens says, since you came to SmackDown, I know you haven't been busy because you really haven't done anything, which I thought was funny. But tonight you can. So I thought there was actually some good humor in Kevin Owens' backstage segments tonight, and we'll get to one that I thought was pretty funny because of Breeze Dango. We'll get to that one in a bit. Aiden English versus Bobby Roode. So Bobby Roode debuts on SmackDown Live facing Aiden English. Now, so I have a problem with these NXT debuts almost every single time. And the reason why is because they never set up the guy coming up from NXT. I will give them a slight pass on this one because a lot of people know who Bobby Roode already is because of his days in TNA. And because he's the NXT champion, but not like the casual fan still. You need to set him up for the casual fan that maybe didn't watch TNA and has only watched WWE and, has only watched it periodically every once in a while. And I understand that SmackDown isn't really the casual show. That's more Raw. But at the same time, I feel like you should at least set this character up 1 or 2 weeks in advance, even if it's a Bobby Roode. Have a couple of teasers, have a couple of vignettes. Now, I'm a guy that likes to build the character and build the vignette before he even arrives, and I feel like that gives them the advantage in coming in. Like, that's my personal taste in wrestling, is I like to see the vignettes done because I feel like, personally, I get more of an attachment. I understand what the character's about and all that jazz first before he debuts. Now, I will give them a slight pass again, like I said, because Bobby Roode is more known than the typical guy. But at the very same time, I feel like you should set up every single wrestler that debuts on your show. I thought that this was, I didn't really care for the match. Whatever, it is what it is. Bobby Roode was going over. Everybody knew that. And that's another thing about these debuts. I mean, everybody knows that Bobby Roode's going to win this match, so why watch it? You know what I mean? Why watch a match where it's predictable and it's predictable finish when you could change the channel and watch something else or do something else? You know what I mean? So this is almost, in a way, a squash match because everybody knows who the winner of this match is going to be. I would always rather prefer a promo. If you're not going to have a vignette, just have a promo of Bobby Roode, have an introduction of Bobby Roode instead of a match against a jobber. Like, this doesn't really set him up to be doing anything. Yeah, it's nice to see Bobby Roode, nice to see him wrestle for the house and everything. But, like, it doesn't – I did like that they followed up the match with an interview and how Bobby Roode congratulated Daniel Bryan and Shane on the hottest free agent signing today. He says, everything I touch and everything I do is big box office. And then in New York Minute, SmackDown Live went from great to glorious. I like that interview. I like the little promo after the match. But at the same time, I want to know what the character's about. I want to know the intentions of the character. Why is he on SmackDown? Blah, 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 blah. Instead of a match. That's my personal opinion. So let's get that out of the way, and let's get the other return out of the way. So after that, we have Daniel Bryan with Chad Gable, and Chad Gable is kind of like, you know what, haven't been doing much since Jason Jordan. All I've been hearing about is Jason Jordan and his dad and how he's the son of Kurt Angle and blah, 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 blah. And Daniel says, you know what, I didn't just make a trade with Jason Jordan. I didn't just send him to Raw. I actually made a trade to sign one of his friends, and his friend being the new tag team partner that you're going to team with. I think he's going to make a great partner for you. And so he says, meet your new partner, Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin comes in looking pretty good, still looking pretty young. Gable said it looks like really happy. He's like, oh my God, Shelton Benjamin, I know who you are. I'm from Minnesota too. You know, blah, blah, blah. They have a lot of similarities in their backgrounds in wrestling and stuff like that. And they've recognized each other as fans of each other. So it looks like they're going to hit off as a tag team. They're going to debut next week. Shelton says thanks to Daniel. This was fine, but I felt this was extremely cheesy. Like, the way that this segment was done, I felt like it was extremely cheesy. Like Shelton Benjamin has never been great on the mic. I felt like he's always had his moments. His better qualities have been in the ring. And even his charisma. He has a charisma about him, but he doesn't necessarily have that great talking ability. But at the same time, I thought Daniel was extremely cheesy. Like Actor would be extremely pissed off and extremely rattled about this segment. He would be all over this segment and the acting of Daniel Bryan. Shelton Benjamin was kind of just going with the flow. It almost felt like they didn't really know where it was going. Like it kind of felt a little off to me. I don't know, but it's nice to see Shelton Benjamin back. I'm interested to see what he does. I just felt like this segment was not that good. Like it was like cool, like, oh, that Shelton Benjamin, I remember used to watching him and he's awesome and I used to love Shelton Benjamin. But at the same time, it's like the segment was not that good. Let's get back to the comments. Katana says, too much Uber driver on my TV. TMB says, I thought I missed an episode where Owens and Zayn made up or something. That was confusing. Chase says, King Mitch. What's going on, Chase? W Boy says, Bobby the Glorious Roode debut, in my opinion, was cool to see, but at the same time, I don't like how NXT indie wrestlers are debuting because they won't bring up ratings. I don't think Bobby falls into the indie wrestler category. I don't think he really has a lot of those qualities. I think he's closer to – he was always one of those guys in TNA where I felt like he should have been in WWE because he had the whole total package, and I never really understood why WWE never – signed him earlier. But yeah. Katana says, what is a vignette? Those still exist. Chauncey says, I see Bobby Roode debut on WWE YouTube channel. I gonna watch it on Hulu. Okay, Chauncey. WWE Boy says, I do like your idea, Mitch. They should have gave him vignettes before they debuted. Yeah, that's just how I feel. TMB says, do I have to hear Aiden English sing the same shit every week? At least change it up like Elias. Yeah, I know, but I don't think they put enough. They don't put enough effort into Aiden English. They put actual effort into my boy Walking with Elias. They don't put a lot of effort into Aiden English, and that's just the way it is because Aiden English is a jobber, and I don't agree with it, but that's what they do, and that's how it is. Chauncey says 205 Lives on Wednesday too. Do you watch 205 Live, Chauncey? Are you the only human being on earth that watches 205 Live, Chauncey? Katana says, I wonder how long they'll be a tag team. It looked to me like Shelton wasn't too enthusiastic about teaming up with Gable. I'm not sure. I think that's just the way that they kind of want to do it. Like Chad Gable kind of looks up to Shelton Benjamin, and Benjamin's going to be his mentor. I feel like that's what they're trying to go for with this, but we'll see. WWE Boy says, I'm glad Shelton Benjamin is back, and it's dope to see him wrestle full-time again. Yeah, I'm interested to see, because I haven't seen a Shelton Benjamin match in a long time. I'm interested to see like how well he can still go in the ring. Christian says, who do you think should be the visible face of WWE? I do not like Roman. I'm a fan of Roman, but he's not really over as a face. So like the biggest face of your company should be the face of your company. Right now, it's Cena and Lesnar. I think as much as he doesn't seem like the prototypical face of the company, the guy that's the most over right now is Braun. So I feel like whoever that is should be the face of the company. So I feel like that should be Braun. I don't know. And Roman as well. I think those two guys should be the faces of the company, in my opinion. Then we go to Christian, who says, again, my second question is, who do you think was the best feud in the history of WWF WWE? Mine was Shawn versus Bret. My favorite wrestler and wrestler feud is Rock and Austin. My favorite feud is Austin and McMahon. So there you go. Let's continue on. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens backstage again. Zayn says, you're not getting help from me. You've done too many rotten things to me for me to give you any help. So basically Kevin Owens is on to the next guy, looking for another guy to be the referee. And thank God they made that decision, because Sami Zayn being the ref would have made no sense unless it was to help AJ Styles win. Hype Bros versus the Usos. The Usos win this match. It's actually the Usos' birthday, and they basically cut a promo about how the tag team division should be on notice. They beat the New Day. They're the champs. They're the guys that have SmackDown Live on lock. They have the tag team division on lock. Brooklyn, welcome to the Uso penitentiary. You're going to start feeling the way that New Day felt the rest of the tag team division. And at the end, they say it's not paranoia, but it's the Usos. The Usos, again, another great promo. They're really, really good with this gimmick and on the mic. And I'm looking forward to their next feud. It feels like Breeze Dango is going to feud with the Authors of Pain or the return of Harper and Rowan. We'll see where that goes. So it's going to be interesting to see who feuds with the Usos, being that the Usos are heels. It wouldn't make sense for them to feud with the Authors of Pain. We'll have to see what happens. Shinsuke Nakamura faces the Singh brothers. Jinder is ringside watching this match. I really liked how they had the Singh brothers still wearing their suits because they wouldn't have wrestling gear with them. Shinsuke wins via triangle. The match could have been more entertaining, in my opinion. I've seen better matches like Austin versus the Stooges, which that's freaking hilarious. This isn't the same thing, not even in the same ballpark. I like when they utilize the comedy of the characters like the Singh brothers, and they didn't really do that in this match, to be honest with you. Jinder hits Nakamura with a super kick. Nakamura basically no-sells it, then hits a Kinshasa on Jinder to go over. So I guess what they're trying to do is they're trying to, get Nakamura back some momentum, and that's fine. But I never really like seeing your champion, just kind of your champion is not protected in this instance. I don't see how you protected Jinder in this segment. All you did was get Nakamura, back his momentum. But did he really need that, to be honest with you? Because he did get screwed over by the Singh brothers, and he beat the Singh brothers. So in my opinion, it would have been better off getting the heat back on Jinder. As soon as the Singh brothers lose and Nakamura beats the Singh brothers, you've already established that, okay, Shinsuke gets his momentum back. He beats the Singh brothers. Boom, you get Jinder to hit him over the head with the title. you get a submission on him or something like that, or you hit him with the finisher, and boom, the heat's right back on Jinder, and you're moving along and you're moving with the momentum. That's what I would have done. Then we have Breeze Dango with Owens backstage. I really, really thought this segment was funny because there was no Breeze Dango, fashion files tonight, but this segment was good. I thought this was funny by all of them. So Breeze Dango, they're in the hallway next to Owens, and Owens is walking, and they're like, freeze. And you see Tyler Breeze like this with a fake gun, his hand as the gun. And I really like their outfits. They're wearing like pineapple like outfits, like looking like they're going on a flight to Hawaii. Then basically they're explaining how they would be great referees, and Fandango's like, we would make some damn sexy zebras. I thought that was good. And Owens is like, no, I'm not making you the ref. Like, are you guys stupid? And then Breeze Dango's like, to be continued, making the joke on their fashion files. So there were some good jokes in here. There's some good writing. I thought that was actually funny. Then Corbin comes along and he basically says, I'll be your ref, but I want first dibs when you win the title, or, whatever. So Corbin becomes the referee for tonight's main event. Let's get back to the comments. Back to the comments. Chauncey says, yes, I do like 205 Live. I'm a 205 Live kind of guy. That's an interesting answer there, Chauncey. You're the only person I've met that likes 205 Live. WWE Boy says, since Bobby was cheered because of the Smarks tonight, I think he should go face because a lot of Smarks and casuals like him. Also, he has a good character and moveset, and we never seen him face on NXT. I also always feel like, a guy that's beloved like Bobby Roode, even though he's a heel, when he debuts, there's always that face reaction. And at least for the first while, as long as you ride that momentum, he should stay face until it gets to the point where you need to turn him back to heel. So that's my opinion on that. TMB says, can't stand the hype bros. Katana says, Chauncey, are you Marky Mark? TMB says, they did a shitty job of making Jinder look like a legit champ. Yeah, I agree. Katana says, Breeze Dango's the definition of glorious. WWE Boy says, I didn't see the match, but from what I heard, it sounds like they made Jinder pussy out and look like a bitch against Shinsuke. Well, no, he didn't. He didn't pussy out because he hit Shinsuke, and he basically, he hit him from behind like a heel, but then Shinsuke got the upper hand back on him because Shinsuke no-sold the kick. Steelers Nation says, go Steelers, gotta go by. All right. Thanks, Steelers Nation. Next, we have Natalya promo with Carmella. Natalya is wearing this Bret Hart-esque jacket. I thought that was kind of cool. Natalya says that she's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, stealing her uncle's line. Naomi says, take a look at a real champion. Natalya says, Naomi, take a look at a real champion. Sorry, my bad. She then says, I promise to restore the title to, what it used to be. It's no longer glow time. It's my time. Then we get the FB, fabulous theme song hits. Carmella comes out wearing that amazing outfit that she wore at SummerSlam that I was really hoping to see because she looks great in it. And I really like it. It's cool looking. It's like basically a take off the Brooklyn Nets basketball jersey, but it's like a woman's styling thing. I don't really know what the exact thing is called. But anyways, Carmella looks great tonight, and I like the outfit. And it fits her gimmick as well. Then after that, Ellsworth says, you finally won something, Natalya. It took you like a billion years, but you won something. And then Carmella says, you shouldn't be disrespectful to the champion, Ellsworth. You know that. She says that she does have one tiny thing to talk about, and she says, this is your time, and I agree with you, but you're on my watch. She says, tick tock, tick tock. She says, at SummerSlam, I let you have your moment, but just remember, when the time is right, I'll be trading in this contract for the title. Capiche? Carmella then basically plants the seed in Natalya's mind that even her tagging up with her doesn't mean that she can't cash in the title. I really like that, how Ellsworth at the end said, you know what, maybe we'll just let you get beat up the whole tag match and then cash in for the title after. So I like that. That was good. So they're continuing to plant seeds with Carmella. I do want to see a Carmella feud with somebody, though. I don't want to just see Carmella hanging around the title. I need to see Carmella in an actual feud with someone. Next, after that, Natalya and Carmella versus Becky and Naomi. So I have a problem with Naomi's entrance. She entered like it was a regular old day, like she was the champion, but she just lost her championship. In my opinion, she shouldn't be coming out having fun. She should be pissed and serious and, you know, be trying to get back her title. But instead, she still does that whole dance routine and everything. There's certain times when it's good. There's certain times when I feel like it's bad. Like, you have to think about what the character would be like in that moment, in my opinion. And I feel like Naomi would not be willing to dance and, you know, all this stuff down to the ring. There was a beach ball in the crowd, quite obviously, as the fans weren't paying attention to much of this match. Natalya chases Carmella around the ring, which ends up being the finish. She chases her around, and then basically Carmella gets in the ring, and she's not looking, and she gets hit with Becky Lynch's, one of her like signature moves, and then Naomi hits her, whatever it's called, where she gets on the top rope and does that cool athletic thing she does and gets the finisher. Naomi gets the win. I like that. Naomi's getting her momentum back. It looks like they're going to continue the Naomi-Natalya feud with Carmella kind of being around there. Maybe they'll do Becky-Carmella. That would be good. I'd be interested in that, but we'll see. Dolph Ziggler is back on SmackDown Live. He has an interview. So not only do we have Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Roode, but we also have Dolph Ziggler coming back. So it's going to be interesting to see what Dolph Ziggler does. He had an interview here, and I like how he introduced it. He says, you know, I'm excited to be back, but look at where I'm at. I'm getting reintroduced on an interview, which I thought was good. He then says, now I know what it takes to be a star. I'm going to start singing, playing guitar, getting lights, dancing, lasers, big fancy robes. That's what it takes here on SmackDown. I need a beautiful woman, a glow-in-the-dark woman. That's exactly what I plan on doing next week. So next week, he's going to have his big debut again. It seems like Ziggler's heading into the heel direction by this interview. It's going to be interesting to see what he does, but I'm intrigued. I've always really been a fan of Ziggler. I know some people aren't, but I have been. Lana backstage on the phone, the next segment, she says that the ravishing journey will begin next week. Tamina is there, and Tamina says, Lana, what do you mean next week? Lana says, this week we look into our hearts and see why we need this. She says, close your eyes and remember being in a locker room where you don't fit in. Take those feelings, and basically she says, get angry. Now open your eyes. And then you see Tamina kind of get intense, get this face on, the game face. And Lana says, now you're ready. I see the rage, and we will bash the bullies. The ravishing reign of terror begins. We will not stop till you become champion. You will be the most feared woman on SmackDown Live. I really like this, actually. I have not liked a ton of backstage segments from the women on SmackDown, but I thought Lana did an excellent job here. She's just a really good actress, really good talker. Tamina, I thought, did a fine job complimenting her in this. I feel like this is a story about getting Tamina the title, but it's also a story about Lana refining herself as a manager, which I'm intrigued in because I don't want to see Lana the wrestler anymore. I just want to see Lana the manager. That's what she was meant to do. That's what she should do. She has the chops for it. She's a good actress. She's a good talker, and that's what I want to see. Next, they have Corbin and Styles talking backstage. I really like that they threw this small segment in here where it was just reminding Corbin that, you know, Styles does open challenges every week, so you don't need to screw him over. I thought that was good. Okay, let's finish this show off with the main event. AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens for the U.S. title. Baron Corbin is the referee. The match is, like, I'm not really into it a lot because I just saw it on Sunday, and I feel like I've seen it a ton of times. There was something different with the special guest referee elements, though. Baron Corbin didn't do a whole hell of a lot until he called that moment where AJ had the calf crusher on Owens, and he says that Owens touched the rope. Then Corbin started getting a little bit biased in his decision-making, going towards Owens, doing fast counts for Owens, blah, 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 blah. Styles gets knocked into Corbin by Owens, and then Shane O'Mac runs down, and Shane pulls Corbin out of the ring. They start arguing. Corbin basically leaves and says, hell with this, gives the referee shirt to Shane McMahon. So Shane becomes the new referee. Shane ends up basically distracting Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is taken back by that. Styles wins via phenomenal forearm, and that's how it goes. So again, we have a decision here where it looks like Shane screwed Owens. Also, though, we have something where sort of Corbin screwed Owens at the same time. He sort of did, because he left him and he left Shane as the ref. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the story is Owens and Shane, but you could also do something with Owens and Corbin, or you could completely flip that on its head and have Styles and Corbin. Maybe they set it up so that Corbin is pissed off at Styles because he got pushed into him in the match, and maybe they'll go with Corbin and Styles. That's my feeling on that for the U.S. title, and then Kevin Owens and Shane, and they'll go with that. So I think they're setting some good things up here, some positive things, and also to see Corbin kind of bounce back from SummerSlam, I think is a good thing. He doesn't have the same momentum he did have with the Money in the Bank, but he'll have to regain that soon. Let's go to the comments. Katana says, Chauncey needs a Snickers. I totally agree with that. Chauncey, you're not yourself when you're hungry. Katana then says, some of the characters in WWE make no sense. When they suffer a devastating loss, they act like nothing happened the next night. Katana says, I changed the channel when Ziggler appeared. So you're not a fan of Ziggler, obviously. WWE Boy says, sounds like Ziggler is coming back to WWE as a reboot and starting over as if he was a new wrestler. Yeah, they're trying to reboot Ziggler because I think a lot of people were tired of him before that. I've never really been. I think he had some really good moments in that Miz feud last summer. I think they can still get something out of Ziggler. Katana says, Mitch, have you seen some of the bikini photo shoots of Lana? Yeah, because I follow her on Instagram. Yeah, I have seen some of them. TMB says, like the Dolph segment, he realizes that these average wrestlers like Finn, Naomi, and Nakamura are all over because of their entrances. Yeah, that's something, like the entrances. But I think there was also something, he was kind of shouting out a bunch of different people in that, some of the newer guys. So it's interesting. He was talking about some of the newer talents. So it's going to be interesting if Ziggler, similar to how he was kind of last year, is picking fights with some of the rookie guys. But we'll see what happens. Katana says, I don't understand how this did anything for Corbin. It didn't really. I think they're just trying to set up his next feud. I think that's all it really did. I hate everything said Lana went from a beast Rusev to a she-man in Tamina. I'm not a huge fan of Tamina, but, Lana's really good and she can make anyone kind of relevant with her managing. And I really think that she should get back to Rusev after she's done with this whole story. WWE Boy says, Mitch, I got a date with Kathy Kelly tonight. Yeah, right, you did. Katana says 3 out of 10 show. Chauncey says, why did WWE did not do a CM Punk cash-in with Carmella at SummerSlam? I don't know, bro. Chauncey says, I'm a Dolph Ziggler kind of guy. I think they're trying to wait out Carmella because they did the Baron Corbin cash-ins like the week before SummerSlam, so they didn't want to do a second one. Chauncey says, I'm a Dolph Ziggler kind of guy. So that's the show for SmackDown Live, August 22nd, 2017. Hope you guys enjoyed my review. What's my grade for tonight? I thought this show was decent. I would probably give it like a 5.5 or a 6. I thought, the arrivals were cool. Even though I had some bits where I didn't like it a ton, I felt like there was some entertainment to be had on this show. I'll give it a 5, actually. A 5. I think it was like kind of in the middle. It was nice to see Bobby Roode arrive. It was nice to see Shelton Benjamin come back. I would have maybe done it a little bit differently, but that's personal taste. What else? I thought the U.S. title stuff was really, really good. I just felt like it overshadowed the WWE title. I liked some of the stuff with the women. I didn't hate anything on this show, which is a good thing. I liked, some of the other stuff. So I got to give it a 5. I don't think it was a bad show. I don't think it was a great show, but I think it was kind of a passable show. So anywhere between a 5 and a 6 for me here today on August 22nd, 2017. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button. If you have not already, subscribe. And guys, I'm gonna give a shout out here. If you guys are fantasy football players, make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Football League for the Bottom Line View. Go to my announcement video about the Fantasy Football League, and you can sign up there with the link. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Peace out.